President Biden will meet with members of his Homeland Security team in the Situation Room here at the White House at 12:15 to receive the latest updates in the investigation into this attack in New Orleans on New Year's Day. Now, the president is set to return in the coming hours this morning to the White House from Camp David, where he had received updates throughout the day into the investigation on Sunday.
Wait a minute. Joe Biden's going to have a meeting in the Situation Room at 12:15 today. That's pretty much the crack of noon. Way to be on it, Joe. It's so frustrating. Yes. There was a deadly terror attack in New Orleans, Louisiana. We know a lot. We don't know everything. We're still looking for some people we believe may have been involved, although Jamie Raskin is now telling people, that's right, Jamie Raskin, the renowned investigator, is now telling people that the person may have acted alone. Then why did the FBI tell us yesterday they were looking for 4 to 5 people who may have been associated? We shall see where this goes. But, Jamie Raskin's now out there telling CNN and everybody else, well, he may have acted alone. Well, what about the guy out in Las Vegas? And is that connected? And the fact that both guys have military background. One currently was active military before he died when the Tesla Cybertruck blowed up. Technically, the truck didn't blow up. Some things in the back of the truck blew up. They both rented their electric vehicles through the same app. Coincidence? I wonder. So Joe Biden's going to sit down with Homeland Security today to, I guess, get briefed again. Is there something more we need to know? We shall see. We shall see. There are a lot of topics that we have to get to today, but I was also talking about New Year's Eve and some of the things that happened outside of the tragedy in New Orleans. There was a big party at Mar-a-Lago. Yes, Donald Trump had a New Year's Eve party, had a red carpet at Mar-a-Lago, and he and Melania walked the red carpet and actually stopped and talked to the media briefly before they started the party. Kind of interesting, the president-elect, 18 days away, confirmed his position on HB1 visas remains the same.
Why'd you change your mind on H-1B visas, sir?
I didn't change my mind. I've always felt we have to have the most competent people in our country. We need competent people. We need smart people coming into our country. And we need a lot of people coming in. We're going to have jobs like we've never had before.
But sir, you said you changed your position.
So Donald Trump's saying he didn't change his position. Hasn't changed his position on the H-1B visas, and that was a distraction. I think that was a distraction blown out of proportion by the left. My feelings on that. It feels like that's kind of what's going on. But there was a party. There was a big party, and Donald Trump was also flashing some of his dance moves. Of course, the Trump dance was happening, and it was happening with the Village People. Yes, the Village People, whomever is still remaining alive of the Village People. Some of those faces didn't exactly look familiar. It looked like there might have been some new people in the village, if you know what I mean. And they may have gotten some of them from the villages down in Florida. But they did play YMCA live with some additions. See if you can notice the slight lyric alterations. Yeah, so it's Trump Man. There's no need to feel down. Trump Man. Oh, it was a lot of fun. They replaced Young Man with Trump Man. And why not? I suspect we might be seeing the Village People at the inauguration. And maybe, if not, there was just announced yesterday there will be a victory party in Washington, D.C. Donald Trump is going to be hosting a rally-like event at the same place the Washington Capitals hockey team plays. So I think that'll hold like 20,000 people. It'll be a big thank you event, a big celebration event, and we'll see what happens on that. I would not be surprised if the Village people were invited to perform. Kind of be a cool thing if that were to happen. We'll see if there are other updates to what's happening in the investigation into New Orleans. As I said, you've now got Jamie Raskin telling everybody this might have been a lone wolf thing. I just don't understand how it went from 5 people to lone wolf in less than a day. Really curious to me. Now, NBC had Lester Holt was interviewing the governor. The Attorney General of Louisiana yesterday, and talking with the Attorney General Liz Murrell about the Sugar Bowl, and talking about whether or not the Sugar Bowl should go on. It's been delayed a day. It's going to be 4:00 today, and there were questions about it. This is cut 8, please, Michael.
Under the circumstances, there might be others out there. Is it wise to go forward with the football game, the Sugar Bowl, even a day later?
You know, not my decision, but I would like to see it delayed at least another day. If they asked my opinion, I would tell them that. I think that it was a wise decision to delay it at least a day. This is an active crime scene, and, you know, they just finished removing some of the bodies, and they still haven't removed all of them. And I still think that we probably need to wait an extra day.
Well, Morrell said that, but then all the bodies have been removed. The crime scene has been cleaned up. I believe they've even moved the truck. And so now there is, I guess, a thinking that everything's okay. In fact, Lester Holt and Liz Morrell continued to talk about whether or not there is a further threat to the community.
Is there a further threat to the community?
No, I believe that the community is safe, and there certainly are a lot of there's a huge law enforcement presence here in New Orleans. I believe that everyone is safe, and the governor plans to attend the football game.
The governor's going to go to the football game. I've also seen interviews with members of the New Orleans City Council who said they, even though they're not sports fans, are planning to attend the football game. And I wonder if they'll get the same heat for attending the game that the governor got for posting a picture of himself outside of a steakhouse yesterday. A lot of people have a lot of questions. A lot of questions. Like Jim, who's calling from Chicago on WLS, listening on WLS. Hello, Jim. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Jim. What's on your mind today? Happy New Year.
Well, when it comes with the FBI, what they think and believe is insufficient. In other words, they got the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, because they have a history of lying to the people.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of question about the upper deck of the FBI, the executive wing, but there's still a lot of people that believe the men and women, the rank and file out on the streets doing the investigations, truly want to be what they are, and that's the greatest law enforcement agency in the world, and the world always looked to our FBI. And we may have lost a little bit of the narrative with some of the woke stuff, but I think we can get that stuff back, Jim. I do.
Yeah, okay. But
all right.
In other words, get rid of the leadership, you mean, right?
Yeah, I think once we get Kash Patel at the head of the FBI, and then you go over to the DOJ, and you've got Pam Bondi as the Attorney General, I think you have a great attitude change. Now, we may see a whole bunch of people resign, and that is one of the indications that you're going to see a lot of people step aside. That's okay. But let's bring in real leadership and get back to, as Kash Patel said, one of the long-form interviews I saw with Kash in the last couple of weeks said, I just want to let the men and women of the FBI turn loose and let them go solve crimes. Let them go be law enforcement people. And that would be refreshing. That'd be a good thing. But thank you, Jim. Appreciate you being there. Happy New Year. Also in Chicago, Art is in Chicago. It's a very Chicago-heavy day today. My old hometown. Hello, Art. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Chicago, represent.
Very good. I have not heard a hey in a long time.
Right on, man. But, Mike, good to hear you. Good to hear your voice and your intelligence this morning on the radio.
Sir.
Yes, sir. And dancing on the Trump bandwagon to the village people, I kind of like it, man. I like the vibe, you know.
Well, it truly is a celebration, and Donald Trump brings a certain amount of celebration as well as a gravitas. Yeah. You know, he can be a real serious leader and a diplomat and a hard negotiator, but he also is a guy who knows how to celebrate without getting too crazy. Let's remember, the guy's never had a drink or a drug in his life, but he certainly has a good time wherever he is.
Right on. I didn't inhale either, and I say bring it, man. Bring it. And, hey, how about this for New Orleans? Well, first of all, my heart was broken when I turned on the news and I saw what happened, you know. And my heart goes out to all the families and condolences. And you know, right away I would say, how about the Battle of New Orleans? You know, and, you know, that's even back to the Confederate days, if you will.
Yeah.
The Battle of New Orleans. You're talking about people responsible, this or that. One person responsible, 4 people responsible. You know, from what I understood, he had an ISIS flag in his vehicle. So there you go. That's who's responsible. That whole everything. But real quick, my point being, the news. You know, Jimmy Carter. When Jimmy Carter passed, and I heard, you know, on your show that it wasn't that big of a news. You know, and it should be big news. Should be front page news, right? You with me?
Well, Jimmy Carter his death, his passing at the age of 100 was in fact front page news, dominated the news for a day. And then the next day they laid out what the process was going to be to honor Jimmy Carter's life. And that's kind of already set in stone. I don't know how much more we can do to keep Jimmy Carter on the front page, but news tends to bounce those kind of events because there really isn't a second chapter until January 9th, when Jimmy Carter will be honored in Washington, D.C. So, yeah, I get it, but, you know, it's not that strange that his story, because there was no controversy about how he passed away. You know, his life was about to end months ago when he entered hospice, but and there's no real big scandal yet to be exposed about Jimmy Carter. So I understand, but I don't think it's a big deal that this tragedy has knocked the Jimmy Carter passing off the front page. That to me was to be expected, Art. But you know, what do I know? I'm just a guest host here. But I appreciate you for being there, and thanks for being upbeat. And I hope 2025 is incredible for you. Let me grab one more quick one here. Tom's been hanging on in McLean, Virginia. Hello, Tom. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Good morning. How you doing? Yeah,
good,
my name
sir.
is Tom, and I'm an old guy. I turned 90 last week.
God bless you, Tom. Happy birthday.
Thank you very much. But you know what that means is I have survived an awful lot of stuff in this country. I survived the Great Depression. I survived World War II. And I survived Vietnam, and I'm a Vietnam veteran. I am a firm believer that the United States is the greatest country that has ever lived. And I can defend that because I lived in other countries. I lived in Japan. I lived in Europe. I lived in the Philippines. Not just visited, but I actually lived there. And so I think I have a fairly decent variety so that I can make the kind of statements that I just made. But now, with respect to Vietnam, based upon what's been happening in this country recently, I was safer on the ground in Vietnam than I am in cities like New York. And there's no excuse for that. You know, in the New York, I've ridden the New York subways, you know, and Daniel Penny, the guy that
yes, sir, Daniel Penny, the guy who stood up, the Marine who stood up. Yes, sir.
He was doing a tremendous service to the United States, and they put him on trial. It is amazing what has happened to this country, and it scares the hell out of me.
Well, Tom, I'm up against the clock. I want to wish you a belated happy birthday, but more importantly, we salute you and thank you for your service to this country and for your constant reminder that this is the greatest country on the planet, and we need to constantly fight to protect her. Thank you again, Tom. God bless you. Happy New Year. I'm taking a break. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on The Chris Plant Show.
Chris here with a list of things that none of us should trust. The Washington Post, the New York Times, anything on CNN. Here's a list of things that I do trust. The Washington Times. Support real journalism for just $1 a week at washingtontimes.com/Chris.
It is the Chris Plant Show. Happy New Year, Mike Opelka. My name's sitting in for Chris. He's got a couple more days off. He'll be back on Monday. And we're just trying to get to everything. We told you just minutes ago the latest breaking news about the investigation into the terror attack in New Orleans. It is apparently now believed that the killer acted alone. That the killer, whose name I don't want to give any press to, the killer was working alone, placed the bombs himself, then changed clothes. The FBI has come out and said, we were wrong. There were no accomplices. Now, one of the good things about New Orleans, the French Quarter, there are a lot of businesses that have cameras out on the streets of the French Quarter. You can't move without being recorded by about 10 different cameras. So I'm sure they've been combing through all those cameras. And it looks like the belief that there are no accomplices is also probably leading to some of the confidence in saying, let's have the Sugar Bowl today. Let's let that happen. And that is going to happen at 4 o'clock East Coast kickoff for the Sugar Bowl. And there will be an army of police officers. Trust me, law enforcement will be everywhere. And there will be snipers. There will be helicopters over, even though it's a dome stadium. There will be helicopters in the air. There will be all kinds of dogs, other assets being used. So we know that. But how do we feel about this? Yesterday, we were told with great confidence that there were 4 to 5 people that the FBI was looking for. And then now we're told, no, we think this was a lone gunman attack, a lone vehicle assassin attack. Well, CNN's Harry Enton, the guy who looks at the numbers, was talking about how we feel about the FBI.
Because if you look here, FBI is doing an excellent or good job. Look at this time trend line. You go back to 2014, right? It was 59% of Americans. Then 57% in 2019, 50% in 2022. Look at where we are today. My goodness gracious, just 41% of Americans think the FBI is doing an excellent or good job.
41%. Down from almost 60 10 years ago. Change needs to happen, and it will in 18 days. It's Mike Opelka for Chris Plant on The Chris Plant Show. And Happy New Year to you and yours. It is The Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant. He returns on Monday. Thank you for being here. We were monitoring the latest information that's being shared with us about the terror attack on Bourbon Street, and it turns out that everything is believed to be the result of the work of one guy now. That the 4 to 5 people they told us they were looking for yesterday, the FBI, don't exist. That this guy was changing clothes and planting his IEDs. They found 2 IEDs in coolers at Bourbon Street and 2 blocks away at another intersection. And they were reportedly functional. And I know yesterday there were 2 explosions as they sent in teams to detonate those explosives. And they did, and I guess they weren't that big. But now the FBI, instead of looking for 4 to 5 people, they've put out a call for anyone who knew the driver. We need to talk to you. It seems to me that the FBI, who spent basically 3.5 years trying to find everybody who walked into the Capitol on January 6th, should be able to get a hold of everybody who knew this person within a day. Maybe you focus your efforts on that instead of on parading grannies. Just saying. Does that make me a bad person? No. No, it makes me logical. A couple of you are questioning some things, so let's jump to the phones. Let's talk to John in Naperville, Illinois. Hello, John. Welcome to the Chris Plant Show.
Hey, Happy New Year. Let me first and most importantly say I was happy to hear your voice the other day. I love it when you're on.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure. Chris
absolutely.
is my buddy. I'm here when he needs me.
Yeah. Well, he's a great guy too, no doubt. So, no particular order, but, we're not out of the woods yet on this whole getting Donald Trump back into office. I'm still really apprehensive about what might happen. Just backing up to what I said to the screener, the swamp's got to be really, really deep if we didn't use the 24th Amendment. I mean, let's face it.
You mean the 25th Amendment you're talking about?
25th Amendment, that's correct.
Yeah, but that requires the cabinet to step up, and you got to have 2/3 of the cabinet who say, hey, this guy can't do it. He's not capable. And I don't know if you're going to even get 50% of those people. Because if you look at the presidential line of succession, a lot of them are cabinet members, and those are people who want to hang on to their cushy government jobs and all the power that comes with it. Just saying.
I keep forgetting about that. There seems to be a way around that. But the other thing, or other things quickly, I'm really shocked that people stopped talking about how quickly they cremated the guy who took a shot at Donald Trump and got his ear. I just can't believe that they got rid of the body that quickly, no matter what the religious background was or whatever. He almost killed a former and future president. That's unbelievable to me.
Well,
and this whole
now that
NOLA thing.
Hang on one second. I don't want you to jump too quickly on this, John, because in the Whitney Cummings New Year's Eve comedy routine she did, Roasting the Year, she raised a question that I had not heard. She said that the shooter, the guy that tried to kill Donald Trump on July 13th, had no silverware, no cutlery in his apartment, and did nobody think that was weird? And that's a fact I had not heard before. So that is one of those really strange little bits of facts that popped up on New Year's Eve. And now I'm going, what don't we know about the guy who tried to kill Donald Trump? And certainly we deserve to know everything. So just a little sidebar there, John.
Great. That piece you played earlier was amazing. And I wonder if he was a military person and he was hired or put in there, just like this guy in NOLA, and then the guy that, that's all the Democratic rage. And then the Trump Hotel and blowing up the Tesla. I mean, clearly that was a sign against how much these guys hate Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It couldn't be any more transparent to me than it is. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, if anybody has any problems with that and says, hey, wait a minute, it's Donald Trump and the symbol of Elon Musk, which is one of his cars, and maybe the biggest symbol of Elon Musk is his Cybertruck. So, yeah, that should be obvious for anyone on MSNBC to be saying, I don't understand why people are making a connection. Well, you need to go to the refrigerator and get a clue, because there's plenty of fresh ones in there. It's just funny to me, very funny to me. But, yeah, the swamp is really, really deep, and we're going to have to do some house cleaning. And I hope that a lot of the people you will see resigning ahead of Trump's inauguration on the day of, perhaps, these are people akin to self-deporting, is what I'm saying. These are the folks who are kind of self-deporting out of Washington, D.C., and wouldn't that be good? It'd be a great thing. But thank you, John, and Happy New Year to you and yours, sir. There he goes. Let's check in with Ralph in Niceville, Florida. I don't know Niceville, Florida. Ralph, is Niceville, Florida a nice place to live?
Yes, actually, it is quite nice. And it's about halfway between Pensacola and Panama City, right next to Fort Walton Beach and across the bay from Destin.
Oh, good for you. Very good for you. Nice. As they say in your town.
It is.
Nice. What's up, Ralph?
I just had something I observed on the online and on TV is they show a video of the truck that killed the 15 people. And it's driving along nice and calmly through traffic. And then all of a sudden it speeds up and makes that right-hand turn. But the video is actually following the truck. It's not just a wide-angle shot. Who knew to video that truck?
You know, that's so funny you say that.
And it was an accomplice.
Yeah, were they monitoring this truck with reason? And now what Ralph is talking about is there's video of Canal Street. If you know New Orleans, Canal Street borders the French Quarter. It's a big boulevard. And that truck is seen going about 2 blocks in traffic. It's not really flying because it was pretty crazy traffic. And then suddenly it takes that right turn and then starts barreling down on Bourbon Street. And that is one of the things I said, because it wasn't a wide angle shot with a red circle over the truck that was following the truck. It was an actual isolation of the truck. Now, Ralph, maybe that says to me that they had eyes on it ahead of time because it had an ISIS flag flying on the back. Could that have been a possibility that somebody goes, hey, wait a minute, there's a white truck with an ISIS flag. Should we monitor it? Or maybe the source of that video will be exposed soon. I would like to see that happen. Just me throwing that out there. But that's a really good point. I completely forgot about it. But yeah, that's the same reaction we had. My wife and I were watching and go, wait a minute, who's taking this video? Because it's not like it was a special truck and you said, wow, that's a really rare truck. No, it's a white Ford pickup truck. Very curious, very curious. The FBI is also reporting at the home in the home and the vehicle of the person. They found 3 phones, 2 laptops that they have recovered, and I'm sure they will use those to go through and make certain they know everything about this person and maybe find a motive. But he has pledged his allegiance to ISIS, and he said apparently in some of the videos he released ahead of the attack, when he drove from Houston to New Orleans, he recorded and posted 3 or 4 videos online. And those apparently were giving some of the reasons why this horrific terror attack happened. But yeah, it does appear to be tied to ISIS as well. I have another kind of a completely unsignaled lane change that I want to cover. And that is something that Joe Biden is planning on doing. Biden is going to hand out the Presidential Citizens Award Medal, the Presidential Citizens Medal. And, presidents do this. They do these things where they hand out medals to try and make people feel special. It's like getting a trophy, getting a ribbon. But this one may be a hint as to what is coming in terms of pardons. Joe Biden is said to be getting ready to hand out the Presidential Citizens Medal, and 2 of the recipients will be Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson. Liz Cheney and Benny Thompson. Yeah, the 2 people who shepherded the January 6th committee, who destroyed evidence. They are going to get the second highest civilian medal that can be bestowed upon an American. I wonder if this is an indicator that what is coming down the pike after that will be those pardons for Liz Cheney or for anybody else. It's more than disturbing. But I know this attack and what happened in Las Vegas are going to delay Joe so much, but I believe he eventually will, in fact, do those pardons. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. The other story that's still bubbling and is getting a lot of attention on the left side of the mainstream media is tomorrow the planned vote for Speaker. And now there apparently are 14 Republicans in the House who have not yet said that they will support Speaker Johnson to return. And yet Thomas Massey of Kentucky is the only one who said he's still a no. And he can be a no, and they can still get it done if the GOP stays all in lockstep. But we'll see what's going to happen there. There are a lot of A lot of discussions yet to be held. I know Donald Trump has given us unequivocal support to Speaker Johnson, and I know there are several people who've said, I'm not confirmed yet, meaning I'm not a no and not a yes. And maybe they're working for something for their district. We shall see. Let's grab one more call here. Joe is in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Wait a minute. Joe? Scranton, Pennsylvania? Is this Scranton Joe calling? Hello, sir?
Watch it, or I'll come down there. How you doing?
Joe, thank you for understanding. I'm sure you get that all.
You couldn't be so much farther from accurate on that one.
I feel badly for Scranton. Hey, Joe, I know you have something you want to ask because I'm not sure I understand where it's going, but I have to ask you. There's a Joe Biden street in Scranton. It's Scranton, is there not?
Yes, and also the Interstate 81 has Joe Biden signs on it for the expressway.
Is it possible that those names will be changed?
We were working on that last week, and we had a big gathering right on the square in Scranton to protest them being there and to try and get some action to take them down. We reached out to the mayor of Scranton and Governor Shapiro. He's a disgrace up here, and more people are losing respect for him. But some of us never respected him.
That's funny because my home is in Wilmington, Delaware, and you literally cannot swing a cat. And I'm not advocating cat swinging, but you literally cannot swing a cat without hitting something that Joe Biden has managed to put his name on. The train station, there's a rest stop on 95. They're all about trying to give him a legacy, and I hope you guys are successful. I hope you're.
He was so disrespectful to the kids that were. They were sold for the highest price to put them in a prison for minor crimes. He let the judge off with a pardon. And,
that's right.
It's one of the biggest disgraces in this area. When he did that, it just activated everyone.
Yeah,
but
he pardoned.
I wanted.
Go ahead. Go ahead and ask your question. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, that's okay. I did want to mention, and I didn't originally call to say this, but I remember right when this incident happened down in Louisiana and New Orleans, the first reports that I heard were he got away, that the driver got away.
Same
and then
here.
The next thing I knew, he was dead. Yeah. So I don't know how that happens. It just seems like it was convenient. It's kind of like the guy on the roof in Pennsylvania at the rally.
Well, it was a situation that was unfolding, and at some point we have to say, okay, let's be fair. It was New Year's morning. Most people had gone to bed very late. This happened at 2:15 in the morning, Louisiana time, and it just started getting to the news outlets around dawn. And most of the news outlets had the second team in place. It wasn't all the A-team employees who were there. Look, I'm the fill-in guy today for Chris Plant, for God's sakes. So there was a lot of second-tier staff that was working at the networks. So I don't think they were getting full reports or accurate information right out of the blocks. So I'm willing to cut them a little slack, but that was one of the things that we had heard, that the suspect fired on cops, and they weren't sure of where he had gone at that point. So I don't think we know fully yet. It's barely been 30 hours since this happened. I think we're going to find out more before close of business tomorrow. We shall see. But thank you, Joe. Appreciate you being there. And good luck with getting the road name changed. I wish we could do something about that here in Delaware. It's Mike Opelka in for Chris Plant on The Chris Plant Show. It is the Chris Plant Show. Mike Opelka in for Chris. Happy New Year to you and yours. Just looking back over all the things we planned to cover today, we got to most of them, and then a story popped Michael Piercy just sent it to me. It's over there on the Daily Beast, which isn't a place I usually run to every morning to get to. And the headline reads, Comedian's Wild Conspiracy Theory-Filled Roast Shocks CNN Host During New Year's Eve Show. And this is on the Daily Beast, and it's written by the breaking news intern. So the Daily Beast has Grace Harrington as its breaking news intern who's covering all of the outrage over Whitney Cummings, the comedian who I thought delivered some pretty darned interesting and accurate stuff on her presentation on the the New Year's Eve night on CNN. But there were a couple of things I didn't play that you have to hear. And this is what I think really irritated the left side of the mainstream media, especially the intern pool.
And since I only have a minute left live on Establishment Media, why don't we just say a bunch of things that we know that they'll never cover? Okay, ready, go. Trump shooter didn't have any silverware in his house. No one thought that was weird?
Trump shooter didn't have any silverware in his house. No one thought that was weird? That's not a conspiracy. That's a fact, young lady. You may not make it out of the internship program, but that is weird.
Are we still rolling? Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia put money into Disney, so just know there won't be any girl characters in the next Cars movie.
So the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia poured a bunch of money into Disney. You know, they have their sovereign wealth fund that props up a lot of companies. But Cummings saying, hey, you probably will have a little more Sharia in those Disney films, so no female heroines going forward.
Are we still rolling? This is wild. Why have so many presidents' chefs died?
Why have so many presidents' chefs died? I think there's still a few questions floating around about the Obama chef who passed away in that bizarre paddleboarding incident.
Boy Scout of America, they renamed itself Scouting America. You know who else changed their name? Sean Combs. Just saying. Let's learn something in 2025. I can't believe you guys are still letting me go. This is...
Yeah, so Whitney Cummings has actually posted some other lines that she meant to deliver, but didn't have enough time. Kind of interesting. She connects the Boy Scouts of America changing its name to Scouting and Sean Diddy Combs changing his name. There were a couple other jokes in there that made the cut, but may not have landed as well. All in all, I thought it was pretty good. Daily Beast, you're really turning over your breaking news to an intern? Very funny. All right, we'll reconvene tomorrow. Thank you, all of you, for being a part of it. Michael, thank you. Jasmine, thank you. And you, the audience, thank you. And remember, testudo, my friends, testudo.